What's up, my wizards? Dev from MTG here with...
And I'm Tony.
Yeah, that's his name. And we're going to do red today in our ongoing set review for Battle for Zendikar. Red is not the most inspiring color in the set, I would say, but it does have some interesting pieces, so let's go ahead and hit it.
Starting off, we've got Dragon Master Outcast, and it's a nice reprint.
Yeah, good reprint.
It was good before. It'll be good again. I'm not sure what in.
It's got potential. It's one of the better red cards in the entire set, I would say. So yeah, I'm pretty excited actually for the card, and it's not the best thing ever, but it has been. It's gotten Steam standard play before, so we'll probably do it again. Up next is a Coam Firebird, which is bad. Pretty sure the card is bad. I did play a 1-up for a while when the landfall thing was building. It just didn't work. It's just not great. I'm sorry. So
since it has to attack each turn of Fable and everything else, I would rather just run the 3-mana one that is Ferocious.
Ferocious, that seems like way better.
Yeah.
Way better. Like if you have 6 mana to get him out of the graveyard, you probably got a 4-power creature.
Yeah.
So I would just rather play that.
Next up we've got a Coam Hellkite. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
A Coam, yeah, something like whatever.
Definitely playable and limited, and I think there's standard potential somewhere, but at the same time, like, I'm not 100% sure where. Like, mono red dragons or a green red dragons thing, because this is now a 6-drop. We've got a 4-drop in Thunderbreak, 6-drop in this, and 7-drop in Atarka and whatnot. Like,
you know, we skipped 5-drop. It sucks with like this is not an acceptable replacement for Stormbreath at all, but. You know, I kicked myself a little bit for not playing this in the Landfall deck. During the video, I was like, we could probably play this card. But I have not tested with it. I think it's cool that you get, you know, incremental advantage, you know, almost, you know, every turn or every few turns off of this. You know, the damage to the face is pretty good. But is 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer really where we want to be? We've been kind of spoiled by these crazy dragons, so I'm not really feeling that one. Up next is Retreat to Valakut, the red retreat, which is actually maybe my favorite retreat. The problem is that, you know, in aggressive decks, we have to, again, sacrifice a turn to play this card, and I'm not totally sold. I do love the whole, like, one of their guys can't block. I think it's actually pretty good, you know, but I don't think it slots into anything. No,
not really. At the same time, though, in Limited, oh my god.
Yeah, this is a fine limited card, like most of the retreats.
Yeah.
Retreats are all, I think, good and limited, but, like, really not standard playable.
Yeah, we've got Zada Hedron Grinder.
Zada.
And Zada.
Maybe one of the most, like, buzz-worthy cards of the entire set. Not a day goes by that someone in the comments section of some video isn't like, I want to see a Zada deck. And, like, yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah. This plus Defiant Strike just says draw all the cards.
Draw all the cards! And, like, Titan Strength, you know, you get all those scries, and all your dudes get +3/+1. There's a million things. In the spoiler video, I actually listed, like, 30 cards that work with this, you know? Like, Tigum's Strike is hilarious, you know? It's +2/+7, it's unblockable, all your guys do, and it rebounds. So, like, there's 100 things. There really are.
Battle Rage to give everything double strike.
Battle Rage, everything has double strike, that's hilarious. Like, there's so many great things that can be done with it, but is it too fragile? Is it too slow? You know, there's a lot of things to take into consideration before we know if Zada's good. Yeah. So, it might be stupid. And everyone's talking about Commander, you know, so... But I think it could see some standard play. It could see. We'll see. Up next is Radiant Flames, a card that I'm pretty sure will see standard play.
Yes.
Just sort of replaces Anger of the Gods. Not
a full replacement because it doesn't exile, but it is no problem to cast this card for 3 mana for 3 different colors of mana in the standard that it is coming into.
Right.
So it's going to be fine.
People talk about this in Grixis and in Jund even. And I totally, especially see it in Grixis control. I could totally see that. But could you imagine if we still had Anger of the Gods with all, like, the crazy exile tricks that Eldrazi have, you know? You Anger of the Gods and you've got, like, exile fuel for days. Yeah. But this, on the other hand, is still going to take out the majority of an aggro board. So I'm in favor. I'm in favor of this.
I actually tested with this in the 4 and 5 color control type decks.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can still put, you can usually always cast this for the 3 that way.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice early board wipe since we don't have, like, Bioblight, Drown in Sorrow.
Yep, we lose a lot.
Like so many other low-costed board wipes.
It's like the only good early board wipe now, you know, and it's good. I feel like it's good.
Yeah, 3
There's going to be
damage is
situations where you can cast this for just
solid.
the 2 different colors of mana, and it's still fine.
And that way, in like the gem decks and whatnot, your guys can survive and whatnot.
Yep. Up next is a Koem Stonewalker, which is a bear. It's a 2 mana, 2 power guy, and interesting landfall trigger for limited.
Yeah, in landfall, this is your aggressive landfall deck.
Yeah.
Because once you start playing out your creatures and whatnot, this gives you something to do with those landfall triggers.
Yep.
And it's awesome.
Yeah,
Because
it's pretty
then
good.
you get like a 3/1, it has haste, and you're going to swing with it right away, and if it dies, well, it was going to get exiled anyways.
Yeah.
3 power is usually enough to trade with plenty of creatures and whatnot. This is a fine limited card.
Yeah, I think this is just where you want to be in limited.
Yeah.
Especially at 2 mana, they could have made this like a 3 mana guy,
Mm.
and it would still be like it'd be a common and not an uncommon.
Yeah.
But they could have done that, and so at 2 mana, this is a fine limited card, definitely. If you're building the landfall thing and you're drafting, it's not like first pickable or anything, but it'll probably come back around to you. So.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Chasm Guide, and this is, it's okay. It's
the key piece in the what is it? March from the Tomb.
combo that everyone
Exactly.
wants to see happen. But it's 4 mana, so that's half the mana that you can get back off.
I'm so mad about that.
So it's not as good. It's not as relevant.
Yep.
But at the same time,
I just want to be like a 2 mana 1/1 or maybe a 2 mana 2/1 that gives all your allies haste or whatever. But that's alas, it is not that.
I mean, I would be fine with like a 3 mana one that was just double red and 1.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Just like a 2/2 or something. I just want it to cost less mana. That's all I'm saying. Because March from the Tomb is still a thing, and you can still make a pretty interesting combo. This is obviously the piece for that combo, but God, does it cost 4 mana?
Yeah.
But aside from the combo potential, it's again probably a fine card in limited.
All day. Definitely for the Boros ally deck.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
All right, up next is Fire Mantle Mage. I may just be reading this for the first time, actually. I don't know that I noticed this card before. I don't know, you've probably seen it more than I have.
Yeah. I've read this card plenty of times. Having Menace on an ally like that is really good.
Yeah, Menace is a good ability.
Like, for the limited ally deck, this is just awesome. Especially if you have the Lantern Scout.
Yeah.
That gives them lifelink and whatnot. Like, dropping this after you've done the haste, or the haste into this, or anything like that, like, all of that sort of has a nice stacky combo effect to just say.
That's the cool thing about allies, is it just becomes this thing where, like, one ally comes into play and, like, all the things happen.
Yeah.
So, that's probably fine for the limited deck, but probably nowhere other than that.
If it was 3 power, I would consider it for standard, because then it's 3 mana, 3
3
power,
yeah.
and all our guys get Menace, that's fine.
I guess you can see in the March from the Tomb thing to sort of make those guys that you just bring in evasive too.
Yeah, like part of the block.
Still, meh. Up next is Tunneling GOP, an interesting landfall card, and probably a good one for limited, but I wouldn't go so far as to play in the constructed landfall deck. I didn't, at least,
I like the potential for it because that means shock lands mean, or Fex lands mean you take 1 damage and your opponent takes 2.
2, yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah. We got Rolling Thunder, a nice reprint, and this is awesome.
Oh, in limited, yeah, this is insane in limited.
Yeah, this is freaking amazing in limited.
This is what you want. This is where you want to be in limited. Aside from that, though, you're not going to play in constructed. We've got way better options in constructed Magic. So.
Yeah.
Up next is Boiling Earth, and it's one of the more substandard, I think, Awaken cards. I'm not a big fan, I can see it going in some boards, depending on how small the format is, but it's not going to be small.
Well, even in limited, it's a great board tech, because if you do come across somebody that's very reliant on those Eldrazi Scion tokens,
that's the thing.
Then this busts all those up in limited, and that's great. The only problem, so that means, the Awaken cost may not be something that you ever actually cast in limited.
Yeah, 7 mana is so much.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you do cast it for 7 mana in limited, you get a 4/4 out of it, you bust up all their Eldrazi tokens.
Yep. You might bust up a few Eldrazi Scion tokens and get a guy, that sounds good, but it's not going to happen all the time. It's really not,
It's, and not only that, but like the late game 7 mana thing for it and whatnot, just by that time in limited, they've used their Scions.
Yeah, their Scions are probably gone, Not only that, but if they're playing Eldrazi, then sure you'll put out a 4/4 on the Awaken, but they've got way bigger dudes.
Yeah.
So. Up next is Belligerent Whiptail, yet another good limited creature. Red is fine and limited in the set, I just don't see much constructed playability.
Yeah.
This is fine and limited, 4 mana, 4 power, and when a 4 power creature gets first strike, it's pretty freaking good, honestly.
Especially in limited.
In limited.
After that, we've got Lava Step Raider, and I mean, yeah, it's...
Yeah, doubt it.
I don't really like this in limited or standard or anything.
In limited I don't really like 1-drops too much, like especially in sealed. And in this format, I really don't like 1-drops because the format's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be playing a lot of really high mana cards, and 1-drops are just not going to be that important. Notice there aren't really that many 1-drop cards in the set to begin with.
Yeah.
And this, I really wanted a good, 1 mana cost goblin for standard. This ain't it.
Yeah.
And we like mana sinks in limited, so that is what that is. But at the end of the day, I just think there's way better choices. Maybe a decent 23rd card, but it's not imperative that you play it.
Mm-hmm.
Up next is Goblin Warpaint. I think it's neat.
I think Goblin Warpaint is just fine. +2/+2 and haste to, a 4 mana guy. There's plenty of 4 mana guys in red right now, so giving them +2/+2 and haste is great.
Even in like some constructed aggro variant.
Yeah.
I could see this. Being able to drop a guy and swing with him on the same turn is important in a lot of aggro decks, especially budget aggro variants. We're just trying to be as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But they're a better option. Obviously, we still have Titan Strength in the format. There's Infectious Bloodlust, which is probably a better card. So, I'm not seeing it right now.
Next up, we've got Undo Champion, and it'll be a nice potential thing for the ally deck.
Yep.
It's very solid that it gives trample to all your guys, but a lot of the allies are fairly small.
Yeah.
So the trample is kind of...
depending on what ally triggers you're getting, your dudes might get bigger depending on if you play another ally.
Yeah.
But this is cool. It's a warrior. It's an ally. And it will see no constructed play whatsoever. But in limited we play, Summit Prowler. That's a good card. It's a 4 mana. It's a 2 red and 2 colors for 4/3. We play that as a 23rd card in limited. It's a fine card. So this card does exactly that plus value. So we'll probably play it as, again, 20 to 23rd card.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you hear the phrase 23rd card a lot when it pertains to limited. Mm-hmm. But I think we're actually going to play an extra land in this format almost every time. Now, people always say 16 to 18 lands is where you want to be, but I could see playing 19 lands in this format with all the huge stuff we're playing. So just wanted to note that first. Next up is Outnumber, which is probably bad.
Yeah.
I would say. I mean, it looks like tempting, but
it looks tempting.
We got tokens, decks, stuff like that, but I still don't like that it only hits creatures.
Yeah. Fitted players, maybe.
Maybe. Fitted players, it might be amazing.
Next up, we've got Reckless Cohort, and this is a fine limited card.
Gotta love the creature types.
Yeah.
Warrior and ally, but again, like everything else in red so far, no standard play.
Yeah, just not very...
Probably not. Up next is Shatter Skull Recruit, and this is just, again, another... I think the rest of these red cards, you can save a couple, are just solid limited cards, which is what this is,
Very solid and limited. After that...
Ooh, I just said that most of these cards are bad. This might actually see some constructed. Maybe.
Next up, we've got Sure Strike. And for a nice red combat trick, +3/+0 and first strike, that's really nice.
It's so insane.
Yeah, that says, a Swift Spear can trade with a Rhino and not care.
Yep. A Swift Spear can kill a Rhino, actually.
Yeah, kill a Rhino, not
first strike, not even trade, just kill the Rhino and not care. And that's, it's very, very early.
Yeah.
This works defensively and offensively. We do have Titan Strength in the format. There are other things. But this is... I love that this can work either way.
Yeah.
Just +3/+0 is insane, especially when you add first strike. So that might see some standard play. Up next is Stone Fury. This card is bad. This card's bad. It's just bad. It's a bad card. You might play a 1/of for removal in limited, but it's just bad. It's a bad card.
Yep. Next up, we've got Valakut Invoker, and this is another limited maybe.
Limited maybe. 3
mana 2/3 limited is generally
fine.
Okay and acceptable.
It's generally acceptable.
But late game mana sink on there is not bad.
The late game mana sink is really good, I think. 3 damage to a target every turn is okay. You're not going to hit it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's probably a fine limited inclusion. Up next is Volcanic Upheaval, instant speed land destruction, which we don't really get to see a whole lot of. That being said, I don't think we're going to see any of this card, but instant speed is really, really interesting on land destruction.
Yeah, it's nice and limited because you can blow up their mana lands.
Yep, I mean you can do that in constructed too. It's just not worth the slot.
Yeah, you could just kill the man land with removal spell.
Yep. And speaking of finding limited, like most of these cards, this is Valakut Predator, which is pretty good for landfall decks in limited, but not constructed, I would say. But in limited, yeah, you know, 4/4 is fine. And some tricks you get 6/6, that's not bad either. But again, no standard play.
Yeah. Now this one potentially has some standard play.
Potentially.
Kindi Slide Runner, 2-drop for your landfall deck. It's going to have trample, so it's more likely to get damage through.
Yep.
And through some of the landfall combat tricks that we've seen.
Yeah.
Then yeah, all day. This is so fine.
Yep. Swell of Growth is really interesting with this, as is the target's command, obviously. We can use it defensively. And the trample is really good. The card would not be anywhere near as good as it is without the trample, because, you know, after a Swell of Growth, dropping a land, and you've already dropped your land for the turn, the card can get huge. The guy can get enormous, and, you know, no matter what, he's going to deal a few damage in the early game.
Yeah.
So I could see him being a thing. So this is Serpentine Spike. I hate this card.
Yeah.
I really do. I hate this card.
Yeah, it just... Yeah.
Nope.
I don't even like him in limited.
Nope.
If I pulled this in limited, I would be very disappointed.
Yeah, it's your rare.
Yeah.
It's your rare for that pack. I'd be so mad. Like, sure, it looks like it can kill a bunch of guys, and it can. It can, but it's 7 mana. I want the 7 mana spell to say win the game.
Yeah.
All 7 mana spells should be Cruel Ultimatum. Up next is Barrage Tyrant, another fine limited card. And some people are saying constructed. I'm not sure on that end, but you know, you can fling 9-power dudes at them. That sounds fine.
Yeah.
So.
It says get that damage through. You know, toss your Eldrazi through for the last couple points of damage. In limited, that's great. And
in limited, this is a game ender.
Yeah,
that's fine.
In standard, this is a maybe because of that effect. But if it did see play like that, it would probably be as a 1-of.
Yeah, you're not playing, you know, more than a couple of copies of this guy in anything. So I'm still not really seeing him. 5 power for 5 or 5 mana is probably fine. They pushed him a little bit, but I'm still not seeing too much standard playability on the guy. Although again, I could be wrong, because you know you just end the game by flinging 8 power at them. That seems good.
Now we got Processor Assault, and me and Devin are both not a fan of this, but we think it could be okay in limited, where you can have a lot of different ways to set up for it that way.
Exactly. You know, I hate that it's dead in your hand if you can't do the exile trick. You know.
Yeah.
And it's just this is the extra cost to like make roast hit creatures with flying, and it's just I'm not a big fan. In limited, we'll have plenty of ways, and even in constructed Eldrazi decks, we'll have ways, but it's not worth it without it being like instant speed. If it was instant speed, that'd be amazing, but I'm not a big fan.
Not only that, the other problem is even in limited, this can still have a hard time killing a lot of the Eldrazi.
Yeah,
so
it's true. This is Turn Against. So this costs a couple of more mana than your average Threaten or, you know, that
Active
ability.
Treason.
Yeah, Active Treason ability. Costs a couple extra mana, but it's instant speed, which is interesting. We don't get to see that too often. And it can, in this format, this limited environment, grab huge dudes. And that's pretty important too. So as usual, you play Active Treason in your limited deck.
Next up, we've got Bile Aggregate, and the card's bad.
Card's bad. You know, we're talking about this. There's I think it's in Dragons of Tarkir. There's a 3-mana guy. He's got power equal to the number of creatures you control. Nobody ever plays him. Same things going on with this guy. Even the boost in toughness isn't going to make him playable. So.
Yeah, like even with...
Go ahead.
Even with all the Eldrazi spells and whatnot.
I was going to say the Scions and such.
Scions and all the like low-cost Eldrazi that we could potentially play this with, it still just doesn't add up to be enough.
No, I'm not a big fan. Up next is Molten Nursery. The card is also pretty bad in Standard. Now, in Limited, maybe, but probably not.
In Limited, if you're sold on the Eldrazi strategy, like a low-cost Eldrazi strategy.
If you're drafting the Eldrazi deck. You know.
This helps because it's some incremental damage for you, but even then, like, you're still taking that third turn to cast this instead of one of your low-costed Eldrazi creatures.
I talk about it all the time. The Sacrifice of Initiate is just too bad on something like this. On a crucial turn like turn 3. So, it's not like Impact Trimmers where you can play, like, you know, token generating things and deal a bunch of damage like that. You're going to be playing like one colorless spell a turn. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Crumble to Dust. And some people have said, you know, potential modern sideboard tech.
Yeah, better than Sowing Salt or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's okay. In Limited, it doesn't have the best
good sideboard card in Limited.
Yeah, but it still has sideboard potential in Limited, depending on like how many non-basics you see them running. We had those tap lands that were common, and they're non-basic. So if you can exile like 2 or 3 of those from their deck and take those tricks and abilities away from them, that can be helpful.
Like, obviously it's man lands is the #1 thing. Yeah. And the card will get better when we get the other man lands in the next set. The card will get a little bit better. But we're also playing, you know, Haven of the Spirit Dragon, which will be important against some decks, you know. And there are some other non-basics that we care about, but for the most part, Crumble to Dust is going to be, you know, sideboard tech, but it will see standard play. Absolutely in sideboards, yes. Up next is Kozilek Sentinel, which I like for limited. You know, the prevailing wisdom is to sort of play 2 mana 1/3s in limited, depending on what deck you've built. And this is a 2 mana 1/4 with upside, so I'd play this in limited.
Oh yeah. Next up we've got Nettle Drone, and I would not play this in limited very much. Like, I mean, it's not terrible, I guess, because it's 3 power for 3 mana, and it's a common, it's an Eldrazi, so it goes into the, like, aggro Eldrazi thing, and you could just tap to get through that extra, like, couple points of damage if you're actually getting very aggressive with this and you get them down to that kind of stuff. But even then, it's so iffy,
It feels iffy. Now, I might play it in limited. I might do that. It feels like, what is the blue-red thing, Geo, whatever its face is, but it's nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
That was like when you play instant or sorcery, you untap it. And this, again, you'll only untap it like once a turn. It's just not, it's not great. Although the only upside it has is that oftentimes those cards will have like 0 power.
Yeah.
And this can still attack if you need it to.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, it could be okay, but I highly doubt it. Up next is Touch of the Void, which I actually think will see standard play because we have no better options. Even at sorcery speed. It exiles, you know, Death Mist Raptor and a host of other creatures that we care about exiling. So, Hangerback Walker, you know.
Yeah, Hangerback Walker, Death Mist Raptor. After blocking, you can still exile Siege Rhino with this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, do the last 3 damage and exile it, you know.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things you can do with it. I don't mind Touch of the Void. It can go to the face in a pinch, so... Because we don't have Lightning Strike anymore, Searing Spear, Stoke the Flames, any of that, it's just gonna... This is one of the better burn options we have. So it may see some play.
After that, we've got Vestige of Emrakul, and I thought I was going to be really happy to read this card originally because I thought maybe Emrakul comes back. No.
No Emrakul. Not yet.
But that's okay. That's okay. We don't really need Emrakul.
Not yet. He might be in the next one. We'll see. The card's not great.
Yeah, as far as this card goes, I wish his power and toughness were
switched.
Swapped.
Yeah, with the trample, that would make sense.
Yeah, if they were, it's red, 4/3 trample, great.
Splashable, you know, all that. But as is, I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that all?
Yes.
Wow, that is all of the red, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of amazing. Yeah. That was very, very fast. If you can't tell, our attitude is that red is a fine limited color with hardly any standard playability whatsoever.
Yeah, we got 2, maybe 3 cards.
Yeah, 3 cards. I mean, we got, Dragon Master Outcast, there's the +3/+7 first strike thing, and there's, you know, maybe people play the burn spell, you know, there's a couple of things. And I'm sure that we've missed something in this analysis, but at the same time, or at least in what we think is good. You know, I'm sure that we're missing something, but I'm not too inspired by red. I'm really not. I feel like...
Oh, well, Radiant Flames, that's it.
Radiant Flames, maybe that's it. Yeah, Radiant Flames is really good. That's fine for the 3-color decks, you know. So there is some playability in the set. I'm just not too high on it overall. You know?
Not so.
We've been playing Mono Red forever. Mono Red has won 2 Pro Tours in a row, so they had to knock it down a peg. My name is Dev from SBMTG.
And I'm Tony.
If you enjoyed the content, do us a favor. Like, share, comment. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe. All of that helps us, and it makes us feel good, too. So, you know, it makes us feel really good. We do a lot of work on this channel, and we like to feel good about it. So, do all those things, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, my wizards.